We're here in Iceland to test out the brand new Panasonic full-frame mirrorless camera, the S1R, and also the S1. We have the 24 to 105 f4 lens. We're here to put it through its paces, do some landscape photography. Behind me, you can see the amazing Gullfoss Falls, and that's what we're going to photograph first. Let's put the camera through its paces and see what results we get. So just very quickly switch over to the boom mic because it's very cold and the radio system's packed up in the cold. It's about -6. Panasonic say this camera's rated down to -10, and so far it's having no problems at all. The shot I'm going for at the moment is again looking up the waterfall, using the kind of cliffs as a leading line, and the river and the waterfall itself leading off into the distance there. I'm shooting at f11, 100 ISO at a 15th of a second, so that should give me a really nice, crisp quality image to check out the image quality properly later on the computer. First impressions though, when it's in my hands, it feels great. I've got quite big hands, so the nice deep grip for me works really, really well. The focusing's quick and snappy. I have got it on autofocus single at the moment. I'll give it a go on manual with peaking mode a little bit later on and just check that out. Touchscreen on a day like this is really useful to me, as I don't have to keep taking my gloves off and keep handling the cold camera to do bits and pieces.
So where are we, Lee? What is this place?
Michael, I have brought you along to probably one of the most popular tourist destinations in Iceland, as everyone at home will be able to see with the amount of people here at the moment. But I've brought you to this region of geothermic activity. Now, I've called it that because we can't agree on how you pronounce the word.
Well, you just make it sound like some bloke from London.
Geezer.
Yeah.
No.
Which I believe would be the proper way if you were Icelandic.
It's
just right there. I would call it a geyser, but that's because I have a fondness for Americanisms.
No, it's definitely Geezer. Well, I think it's Geezer. Maybe somebody can tell us. Leave us a comment below. So, Mike, I've got the S1R.
Yep.
So I'm going to take some stills.
Okay.
And I've got the S1 in the bag as well.
Yes.
We've only got the one lens between us, so. So I'm going to shoot some stills on this, some nice high-res stuff, and then I don't know loads about video, so could you do some stuff of it going on?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect opportunity to show off the high-speed capability of the S1 with that variable frame rate up to 180 frames a second.
What's that? Does that mean well, if you film at 180, what happens then?
So if I film at 180 and then play back at 25, which is standard playback for the UK,
okay,
we'll
so
be able
like
to get
watch TV at.
Yeah, we'll be able to go to roughly 1/8, 1/9 real time.
Oh wow!
So every second of video will take about 8 to 9 seconds to play out.
Oh wow! So it will look super slow right then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens to us in less than a second, we'll be able to stretch out and really enjoy.
Oh wow! That's really cool. That's really cool. Let's get set up. Let's find a position. We'll get set up and let's do some photography and some video. Yeah. I think we might need to move around there a minute, but I don't think there's anywhere here that we're going to get a shot without people in the background at all.
It is a very popular location for sure.
It is. I think it's well worth seeing though. It's well worth just getting a few shots of, definitely.
But it is also worth watching where the steam goes and knowing which way the wind's blowing, so that you can, not get caught.
Yeah, it's blowing to our left at the moment, so what we'll do, we'll head up there as a little clear space, because then we might be able to see down into the kind of crater.
That would be ideal. Well. With this 105 lens, you'll be able to crop in reasonably close from up there.
Yeah, amazing. Let's go.
That's twice.
Tell me you got that.
Amazing. So we've swapped over from the S1R to the S1. We're plugging in the Atomos so that you guys can see what I'm going to do on the screen. I'll just get some power on there.
There you go.
First time you've used an Atomos, isn't it?
Man, yeah. It's a lot smaller and lighter than I thought it would be.
Well, this is the new Ninja 5, so it is the smallest and lightest 4K recorder that they have. So what I'm just going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to hold that, and I'm going to hit record. So what we have to do is we have to put this into video settings. So first of all, we need to put it into manual video mode, and now we need to go into the video settings and put high-speed video on.
So Mike, how does it feel to miss like the 3 best eruptions we've seen since we've been here?
I don't want to talk about it.
Why not?
Because it's your fault.
Why is it my fault? What happened?
What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to record 150 seconds.
Don't change the subject. What happened, Michael?
You told me you had the camera in the bag. It was the bag that was still in the car.
It was in a bag. So why, you should have just picked it up, shouldn't you?
So now that we're set, and I'm just going to have my finger ready to record.
Yeah.
And it's the same waiting game as you doing high-speed photography. The difference is that I want to start it about a second before, so we got a little bit of pre-roll to edit into. Like that looked like it was about to go, but it didn't.
Just think, Mike, if you hadn't left the camera in the car, you'd have been able to get 3 by now. Oh, it's bubbling. Come on. Yeah, if you hadn't left the camera in the car in the first place, you would have got 4 good eruptions by now.
Well, yeah, if that's your story, then that's all we're going to have to run with it.
I mean, I was responsible for it and have been carrying it around in my bag the whole time. And I did tell you it was in my bag, just...
Yes.
It was in my bag, to be fair. So we've made our way to this area down here. We've got a massive dilemma. We were coming out to shoot sunset with the mountain range in the background over this big expanse of water down here. But then, as we've come down the road, been travelling down the road, we've noticed we've got a beach down on the one side of us with these enormous crashing waves. And as we've made our way down to the beach, it's the the black volcanic sand that Iceland's famous for, but then it's covered in ice as well, where the sea's actually freezing at the edge. So what do? Do we photograph this way, where the sun's actually setting with huge crashing waves and ice in the background? Or do we actually photograph what we came to photograph, which is the amazing mountain range lighting up at sunset? So we can photograph towards the sun, or we can photograph what the sun's going to be lighting. We're going to have to try a bit of both, I think. It's too good of an opportunity to miss. So what we're going to do is run around in a blind panic, because Mike really wants to get the drone up in the air and film me like walking across the beach. Well, so up here is a nice landscape orientation shot. I've got the black sand of the beach running down as a leading line. I've got a couple of really nice bits of foreground interest and some lovely bits of ice just in front, and then we've got the mountains lit in the background, just going across the very top of the frame with just a little bit of the sky. I'm shooting at about 40 millimeters, just obviously because we're still quite far from the mountains, just to kind of drag them into the scene a bit more, just to enhance them in the background a little bit. I'm also shooting at 3 seconds f11, 100 ISO, so I've got a nice depth of field, really high quality image still with a low ISO. And then that couple seconds is just helping just to smooth the water out in front of us. Just trying out this lovely portrait orientation composition, which from the view I had before, it's just letting me zoom in a little bit closer, just to emphasise the mountains in the background again. Yeah, I've still got the foreground interest in the ice, and I've still got the black sand running away into the background there, to give us that kind of nice vanishing point. What I am going to do, because of the resolution of this camera though, is just very quickly pop the timer back on, I've got it on a 2-second timer, so by the time I've taken my hand off the camera and it's taken the shot, any shake's disappeared. The fact that it doesn't have a mirror helps to stop some shake, or helps stop a lot of shake from the shutter going up and down, or the mirror going up and down. But it's just such high resolution 47 meg that I just don't want to take any risks. You know, it's not very often we get to come to Iceland and photograph locations like this, so I'm just going to make the most of it. So something that's really handy for me is this vari-angle tilt screen. Being 6'5" and crouched down all the time like that takes its toll on the knees, especially when you're getting a bit older like me. So just the ability to flip the screen off while the camera's in portrait mode like that is a massive, massive help. So this camera has absolutely bucket loads of dynamic range. I'm a little bit old school, that's why I'm using filters. I learned landscape photography on a film camera, where it was absolutely crucial to get as much right as possible, especially when using slide film. So that's kind of why I still like to use filters. And I kind of like that craft of getting out there, taking your time. That's a nice thing with landscape photography, you can take your time. So I've just noticed the clouds coming over that mountain is looking spectacular over that way. The hardest thing for me is finding something that's unique, and you know, everyone should absolutely go and get, you know, the big shots that have been done before, but then also find your own interpretation of that shot as well. I think that's a really good way of learning. You know, find the photographs that are well known. I'm going to do the shot that's been done before, but then I'm also going to try and do my own interpretation of it. And I think that's just a really good way of learning.